experience getting fan subs from Japan, so I have a good idea of what's going on, and I feel entitled to give the state of the anime address for last year. Now, what I can say is that last year was a year of contrast. On the one hand, we had such awesome anime like Even the East. Yeah! We had Bakemonogatari. We had Time to Leave. But the problem is that there was also some of the worst crap to have come out of the great anime factories in Japan in forever. Like 2 seasons of Queen's Gambit. And a deplorable season 2 of Haruhi.
It sucks.
But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk to you about some truly horrific stuff that come out from last year. Well, other than Queen's Gambit. So let's start at the very beginning of last year. This was a year ago. We start with this. Akikan. So you're expecting, so this actually comes from a series of novels like Haruhi, so you think for it to go on 7 volumes, it's gotta be good, right? Well, it's not really. It all starts with him. The most perverted character in this side of the Blue Girl. Of course, he gets to meet that girl who comes out of a steel can. Yes, that's right. You used to have countries that became human. You had operating systems that became human. Now you get steel and aluminum cans that become human. Now she comes out of a melon soda can, so what do we call her? We call her Melon. Best name ever. Brilliant. Now, of course, at this point, you know, magical girlfriend appears. This is probably going to be a harem. Well, it's not quite.
That's one way to get in.
You could just knock!
Well, not exactly. You see, Akikan is actually one of the most recent My Hime Battle Royale ripoffs, where these two jerks basically decide, hey, let's standardize Japan on either steel or aluminum cans in a battle royale of human cans. If this sounds stupid to you, that's because it is. So what do we have here? We gotta have other characters, right? We got Najimi, Kakeru's friend, who is unfortunately about as perverted as he is. Look at that hair. Yeah, look at that hair. You know what? She's actually worse than Kakeru because she has a weakness. She gets drunk off of carbonated beverages. I kid you not. You give her a Coke, she will be knocked until Sunday. So, she also gets an Akikan, of course, because that would be a great twist, right? But before I get to that, let's talk about her. She is probably the worst character in this entire anime. Mostly because she talks like a friggin' baby. Like, she talks like this! It's awful. It's just friggin' awful. And she's laughably pathetic, as you can see by the grape seeds on her face. Finally, we have the last Akikan, who is Najimi's Akikan. Now, she's actually kind of cool. She's Yell. She has a sword that comes out of her arm, and it's called Isotonic Sword, so it's probably pretty cool.
Always cool.
It's always cool, but she's still kind of lame. I mean, look at that face. And of course, what show would it be without side characters like the witch, who is basically fan service, the person who is literally invisible, and a slate of other characters that would surprise you not.
That sure is.
Do not know.
Hey, the plot's gonna make up for it, right? But you know, there's gonna be battles. Well, the battles, there aren't really that many. There's more than some other anime I'm gonna be talking about later. But the battles are actually kind of stupid. Because there's few battles, instead we get a lot of like real drama. And we get serious plot that you can't take seriously at all. And where there isn't drama, there's a lowbrow comedy. But now that's not everything wrong with Akikan. Let's talk about something else here for a moment. You might have noticed that some of the shots I've used so far are just a little bit off. Well, that's thanks to fine animators' brain space. They used to be cool. They did Bakuno and Kaiju. Those were pretty awesome. But unfortunately, they probably put their B team on Akikan. Or maybe their C or D team. So let's play a game. How many errors can you find in this screenshot? 2? Maybe it's 3. How about 6? No, actually the answer is 1. The fact that this image exists at all. But rest assured, those few fans of Akikan will be glad to know that the animation slightly improves in the OVA. It's a Hot Springs episode. You know you're gonna love it. Cold Springs, too. So basically everything about Akikan is absolutely terrible and you shouldn't watch it. But if you should decide to weather the strings of fate and actually go for it, you must prepare yourself for the 5 stages of Akikan. Stage 1, shock at the crude nature of the show. Stage 2, increasing worry for the Stage 3, disgust. Stage 4, fear for the future of anime and what Akikan means. And Stage 5, acceptance and sorrow. And remember that only when truly accepting of the horror that is Akikan can you achieve your moment of zen.
Oh my word! Let's get ready for this show. Starring our doofus, the girl who lives in his house, the backstabbing best friend's girlfriend, and the next girl who actually feels he's a lead up. Get ready for it. One day Man Kager's like, I'm gonna take a walk. What's that I see? A girl in a tree. And the girl's like, hey, you jerk. Stop looking at me up in this tree. By the way, I can't get down. Let me jump on your face. Now she's gonna be the best character we've got.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Woo! Are we ready for plot team? Everything is absolutely absurd in this show. It's like fantastically awful. The plot kind of goes somewhere, then veers dramatically, and all roads are leading to a terrible place, which I'm going to get to. I actually have a battle cry for it. So let's start with the premise. Our main character sits in his house by himself and paints creepy watercolor paintings of the girl who lives in his house. It's like a 2020 special, right? Now you guys are like, I know what this is all about, Sue. This is a harem or a really bad season of The Bachelor. We've got our eligible bachelor. We've got the girl next door. We've got that weirdo. We've got the backstabbing best friend's girlfriend. We are all set up, right, guys?
Yay!
You guys are dead wrong. You all think that's what it's about, but it's really about this girl's undying love for that chicken. You better believe me now. Main character is like, are you joking me? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. She's like, that's it. I'm gonna curse your face so hard that you walk in on girl next door in the shower. And I was like, man, let's start keeping track of this drama. Like, this could get good. We're on the med scale right now. This could get good. He's like, man, I gotta say sorry to her. Like, that was the worst thing ever. I just walked in on her in the shower. I'm going to make a chicken box and give it to that weird girl until she removes my curse and we just veered into stupid dumb. But oh no. No! No! The chicken! That was like the whole plot right there. I'm gonna cry, except she doesn't care. Except she loved that chicken forever. Now she's like, I'm gonna sing about it. And I was like, all we need is a dramatic pan to a sunset and your stupid backstory. She's like, oh man, this one time I lost my tears. And now I collect special tears in a bottle. Very special tears from a very special person. That's my backstory. By the way, you're my new chicken. And character's like, did that just happen? And I was like, we're gonna put that on the fantastic scale. Your plot is absurd, sister. I got some of that romance. Oh, main character, I brought you chicken feed. And I love you forever and ever. By the way, she's in her underwear staring at that chicken box. I was like, what is going Girl next door's backstory! And she's like, once upon a time, I was lost in the bamboo forest when I was young, and I lost my shoe. Who will last? Who will save me? Yeah. And he's like, instead of carrying you or offering you my shoe, I'll take off my shoe too. So now we both look like idiots walking through the bamboo forest with no shoe. And she's like, that's why I love you forever, stupid. And I was like, oh man, this edible snow. What's it all about? Out there in the distance, it's my chicken. I guess it's time for a backstabbing best friend girlfriend trip. Woo! There's some sort of drama involving a sweater. We're not even going to get into it. Let's just say it's okay with regards to everything else. Well, let's dress it up romance again. So, girl, you don't know it. How about you wanted that chicken? Oh, for the love of. Now here's the heartbreaker. Devil Mom. Devil Mom was awesome. She spends her whole time on screen making fun of girl next door, right? She glares at her, lectures her. It's like your pathetic eyes are like your dead mother's. You are easy and control men. She breaks her by telling her this horrible lie all about her husband and girl next door's mother and how they slept together and the poor girl's broken. Best story ever. She cuts her mother's picture out of the album, cuts her face out, burns the picture, and chucks it in the snow. And I was like, yeah, we are inches away. And she comes in and she's like, man, girl next door, can we like make up and pretend that never happened? And I was like, you best smack her. Here it comes. Here it comes. And then they talk about music and everything's great forever. And never. And never. And that great bar spirals out. I'm like, shut her. All right, so Sister Conflict's brother shows up later. He's like, so main character, date? No way, right now. He's like, no, I'll show you how smart I am. If I have to date that chicken-loving girl, you have to date the girl I'm in love with. Who's smart man? My goodness, that was the worst idea ever. So, he gets to date the girl I'm in love with, and I have to date her. Her, that girl that wants to purify my tears. And here was a scene primed for drama, right? Like, oh man, super encounter. Girl next door is on a date with the brother. Main character runs into her on a date with the chicken girl. What do I say? Perhaps that chicken! I think I'm gonna die! Man, we're just going nowhere. Don't think things get better when the main character starts figuring himself out? Oh no. Now that chicken's in dramatic color with narration. He creates a picture book all about that chicken. Here it comes. The ultimate love confession. He's like, girl next door, I'm in love with you forever, but I couldn't tell you. So I'll chase after you on a bike. And then he like careens into a sidebar. And then that goes nowhere. So now by this point I was completely cynical. I was like, you know what, no way. Your stupid chicken will never fly. The main character doesn't love you. Your brother's got the hots for you. You might as well throw yourself out of a tree. And then she did. And it was fantastic. Just for you guys!
Oh man, guys. Overman. Yes! This is a show where you're going to be hurting if you try to make sense of it at all. Alright, so what we're looking at. We want to go to Japan, but this jerk is going to stop us and he's got a bunch of mechs. What are we going to do? Well, we'll just take our whole city and pull it from Siberia to Japan on skis. That's a great idea. Yes. Well, who's going to lead this crusade? Oh, we're going to have the best pilots. We're going to have the most competent support team money can buy. We'll need teachers to keep that city running. We'll need mechanics to make sure that all of our mechs are running just fine. We'll need hostages, pitiable hostages for some reason. And of course, rapists. Nothing is good without one of them around for it. Now, who's going to stop this amazing group from doing what they want? Well, this angry gay guy. Because that's the best we can come up with. Along with him is this crazy jerk who is just kind of an idiot all the time. Or this guy, who's fat. Like, he runs the railhead, he's supposed to be a villain, but he's pathetic. And of course, Captain Talks a lot. We already saw him, but he's back again. Now, this was created by the guy who made Gundam, so we should at least expect some decent mecha designs, right? No. Have good tread walks? The enemy mechs are no better. They range from this stupid thing to whatever the heck that is. That? All the way on down to, get ready for this, whatever the heck that is. I'm not even sure what I'm looking at. It's like they had every bad idea you can possibly think of and were like, run with all of them. Just make them all. Alright, so you got bad designs. What tends to go along nicely with that is bad, writing. They write themselves to a corner on an everyday basis. Alright, this guy shows up and he picks up a whole city block and he throws it and no one's like, look at that. And then the main character tries to stop him, but none of his weapons are effectual at all. And then the writers are like, okay, Zach, we made him too strong, there's no way the main character can win. So he flies off and never comes back, ever. Like, the next time the pilot shows up, he chooses weaker mechs, so that, like, the main character can actually hurt him. Isn't that nice? Alright, let's try again with this thing. It lets him fly and block bullets, and it looks kind of retarded. And then it lets him cut through anything, like, effortlessly. And then they thought to themselves, man, if he can cut through anything at all, he can kill any guy we throw up against him. And then he was never allowed to use it again after episode 1. So that was a great idea. Alright, now briefly, if a mech beats up another mech in this show, they can take their suit and wear it. It's kind of like Mega Man. You get their abilities, which is kind of cool. Alright, up first in the show is this thing which can stop time. Now that seems like it might be a little bit powerful. We can stop some bullets. Okay, that's pretty cool. We can stop the whole city cold. Okay, that's kind of pushing it. We can stop an entire storm system. Like, that's a pretty powerful suit. And finally, through a series of rather confusing events, we win. Now we get to use that suit, right? And then the guys who were writing were like, wait a minute. Anytime he wants, he can win. That might be a little bit too strong, so you never hear of the suit ever again. Alright, well what about a guy who can steal anything? That's not that bad, right? He can steal the bullets out of your gun. That's kind of cool. He can steal your gun. That's still better. He can steal whole people at a time. That's actually getting kind of powerful. He can steal parts of your body. Yes! Are you kidding me? Alright, so he beats this guy up, and do you think he gets to use the suit? Of course not. Because you're just going to take the bad guy's head and steal it. Oh, that was easy. Alright, then there's other things that I don't understand at all. Like this girl. This is some kind of idol singer with really bad music, which I'll be playing for you here. And she, like, interfaces with the plot. She's all throughout the plot, but she never once does anything important. They'll be like, here's the plot, and let's go cut to Mina for a minute, and cut back. And Mina, and back. So it's like she was contractually obligated to be in every episode, but they couldn't figure out what to do with her. Alright, then we got villains. Like, this guy looks like a cool villain, alright? He is awesome. And what kind of way you take down a guy like this? A one-on-one duel to the death between men, right? Maybe not so much. Maybe he just befriends a random girl in your city, hops on the dumbest looking scooter I've ever seen, and drives to India from Siberia. Like, this is how he feeds the plot. He just rides off one day and is never heard from again. He's like, what are you doing? My personal favorite bad idea, though, was this cake. This cake has no explanation. It's not a holiday. There's no parties going on. She's just pushing a cake down the hallway, and then he's never heard of it again. They don't eat it. They don't talk about it. They just wanted to see what a cake is, and they're a pumpkin cake. All right. So we've got really bad writing, but you know what goes with bad writing? We have harpoons also happen. Here's a whole episode in which they're like, our city isn't moving anymore. We better harpoon a train. That's going to solve all of our problems. And it miraculously does, of course. But even worse than that has to be the love neck. I'm not even going to explain how this happened. I'm just going to leave that up there and let you try and figure it out. But after all these enemies, these amazing mechs, these powerful creatures, the most dangerous thing ever is this piece of floating wood. Like, that's the super bad evil thing. It's a piece of wood. Really? That's kind of friggin' lame. Alright, but at some point though, it became clear that I wasn't watching an anime. It was like the producer, the director was like, screw anybody watching this, let's see how fast we can get them to stop watching. Alright, let's throw random things at them. People don't understand random things, we'll just do it. Alright, just completely made up some plot. Just throw together things that don't ever get mentioned again. Alright, what if we just turn the main character into a bird for an episode? Like, that might be a good idea, I don't know. Maybe we just creep people out. I don't know what's happening here, and I don't want it. But finally they were like, alright, let's combine everything we've done into one beautiful scene. Like, I defy you to figure out what is happening. It's actually not. But, and then of course there's the opening theme song, which I'll show you a clip from, because it's so amazing.
Amazingly bad.
That's the plot back there.
Maybe?
Okay, the dancing was actually interesting.
So, yes, that is actually a robot doing the monkey.
So really, after all that like mental trauma, by the time this guy, the actual final boss, shows up, you're like, yeah, alright, that makes sense. I'm totally okay with stuff like this happening. I've learned to accept it. What I say to you is don't. Just avoid the show.
I warned you!
I warned you.
Okay, my turn again. We're gonna go back to last year. Get yourself ready. Springtime in Japan. The kids are back in school.
Yes!
Big golden week is just around the corner. Life returns to the world after the harsh realities of winter. And it's a fine time for otaku too, as we have another new season coming along. Too bad Joanne had spoiled this. Now, for those of you who don't know about K-On! K-On! Is the emotional tale of a girl with hands too tiny to play musical instruments. She struggles against impossible odds to become lead guitarist in her band. About a week. Or at least that's what I'd like to say, except it's actually supposed to be about a bunch of girls who, you know, make this band in high school. Except it's not about that either. It's actually about how these girls basically have tea
And eat cake
all the time. It's actually, and they do this instead of playing in their band, which is appropriately named Afternoon Tea Time. Basically, imagine Haruhi, except with moe blobs. And also, instead of crazy adventures, they basically eat cake all the time. Now you might be thinking all of these are from the same episode. Well, no, because actually they have different side dishes, so they're all from different episodes. Yes, the amount of cake here is ridiculous, which for some reason this isn't playing again, which is kind of annoying. She is actually offering cake, and she gets depressed when the cake is taken away. It's actually kind of sad. Yes, the amount of cake here is absolutely ridiculous. They should have named this show Cake On.
It's like a good show.
But rest assured, you know, they actually do play the band occasionally, and each one does have their role. For example, we have Yui Hirasawa, the lead guitarist, except she's a complete idiot and actually is the only the lead guitarist because she's Rain Man with guitars. Then we have Ritsu, the leader and drummer. Now she actually does do something useful. She starts the band and then she doesn't do anything useful again. Imagine Haruhi, but extremely stupid and without the powers.
Also lazy.
Yeah, and lazy. She's basically the second worst character. Then we have Mugi, who is kind of competent at what she does, except she's insanely rich and therefore oblivious, so she's kind of useless anyway. Think about, imagine about as oblivious as Mikuru, about as rich as Koizumi, and basically kind of looks like Kate from Sketchbook, and has gigantic eyebrows like the ones from Fooly Cooly. Now, finally we have the cool one, Mio, who plays bass.
Yes.
She's actually competent. She's actually somewhat competent at what she does, and the only problem is that she's kind of a bit of a problem because she's afraid of everything and gets into compromising positions. But at least she hates Ritsu and is actually competent, so I'll give her a pass. And halfway through the series, we get who I call Jazusa. Basically, she's like Yui, but better at her job, but somehow doesn't get lead guitar. It's like, let's let the stupid girl get lead guitar. Because she earned it for some reason. She's actually okay at what she's actually kind of cool, but then decides to be a pushover when they decide not to play guitar anymore, but play in a band, and they're like, okay, I'll just let that slide, even though I don't like that.
Some more,
Then we have the proctor, Sawako Sensei. She looks cool at first, she's leaping through the air in her first appearance, but really she's not, because she's just the excuse to make the K-On! Cosplay club.
That's just a little creepy.
Now, what about the plot? Now we have side characters, right? We have the actually useful version of Ui, who's actually competent at what she does as opposed to being stupid. And then we have the Nodoka, who is the friend character, who actually does something meaningful with her life because she joins the student council, and is the only reason that other club is able to exist. Now, what about the plot? Well, the plot is actually... There really isn't a plot. The plot just kind of is just completely aimless the whole way through, and it just progresses abysmally throughout. From cliched beach episode to cliched illness episode, with a liberal dose of cake throughout. Basically, there's no reference to music whatsoever being played, except for maybe in the second episode. There were a couple others, but finally, let's touch it off. Finally. Let's have 5 minutes of drama in the last episode. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, culminating in a heartbreaking moment in which, first, she can't even, get the order right. That's so sad. And then horror of horrors, a cat coughs up a hairball. Rest assured, though, this is all diffused by Yui being stupid. But rest assured, the artwork is about as terrible as Akikan. The tiny hands are literally about as common as the cake is. But neither tiny hands nor cake can prepare you for the face! Yes, that's right! That's right! The face is just friggin' everywhere! Those hollowed out eyes and singleton eyelashes haunt my nightmares.
Little orphan Annie.
It is literally everywhere in this show. Where more emotion is called for, let's add a single buck. Or if it's a sad moment, tears that basically drip like motor oil. Yes, friends, no one is immune from the face. Now, what I can't get is why people actually like this. This is outside in the hallway right now, this instant. I saw this in the hallway and I was like, why? But this is one of the top 10 worst anime of last year. But it sold well, and there's a second season coming.
Really?
Yes!
I'm excited. Who was that?
But, okay. Considering how pandering it is, and considering that Kyoto Animation was able to sell 5 DVDs with the same episode and make a profit, I guess I shouldn't be all that surprised. But, you know, the one thing I want you to take away is that, remember, winners don't do cake.
So the cake is
Every time there's going to be an event, everybody's going to join in or his show, and all you did was cut clips from episodes 1 through 4, and you're trying to convince me this show is terrible. So did you even watch the middle episodes, guys? For you, of course I watched this crap. Now, here, I'm gonna take you through the middle right now. Here's how it goes down. Right up, on each head. Right up. Come on, they want the bracelet, so they're going to come attack you for like the rest of the show. You like get it, right? Crap! And Mama was like, "You an idiot?" I was like, "Mama, I know you are a terrible character in this show, but seriously, look at his face! Of course he's a Overman! Now, this is like, dang, what kind of enemy could we have for people who, for a main character that's this awful? Why, yes, the finest of elementary school children. Yes, that's right. They are so advanced and they can pretty much hack into the most advanced database in the world. And what's their goal? That's right, people, to unleash the power of emo and make everyone's hair look nearly that bad. Now, how are we going to defeat the power of emo? Everyone yell, "Data-Drake!" God, you're all so wrong. To incestuous like I didn't have time to take you through everything, so I did it for you. Oh yeah, the bitter aftertaste of this show might kill you a little bit. Just run.
See, here we have UFO Princess Valkyrie or Ultra Maiden, or whatever they happen to be calling it that day. What are we looking at here? Well, there was this random guy in a bathhouse, and then he got hit in the face with a spaceship, and everybody died. That's it. I had kind of wished that was it. But instead, she gives him half her soul so he can keep on living, and now we get pretty much the most boring protagonist in all of anime history. The Space Princess girl, and the two of them are going to be together with just the slightest of problems. Now she's really tiny and really annoying all the time. But wait, not all the time. If there's a creepy kiss, she'd get better and bigger for a little while. That's great. Alright, side characters in this sucker? A big bunch of losers. Like a cat girl maid. Because you can't just have one ridiculous stereotype, you gotta smush them together and get a new character. For her, she's barely a character at all. This is a character who loves to study. In fact, all she's ever doing on screen ever is studying. It kind of makes you wonder why she's even a character. Probably because when she finds time to not study, she yells at people for not studying. Like, that's all she's about. Or maybe this girl, who's some kind of robot, maybe kind of emo. She'll be really weird most of the time and you'll have no idea what's going on. Or she'll be threatening to upload 3 gigs of bad poetry on your forum if you don't talk to her. Like, those are her 2 modes. And then there's this character. Seriously, like the worst character ever. She ruins anything she's in. So here'll be your show. It's doing its thing, everything's fine. And then out of the sky comes this terrible-looking spaceship, and you're like, oh no.
Is that from
And
Fantasy
the
Zone?
plot is ruined. Like anything you were doing up to this point is gone. And it happens. Like you'd be like, here's my episode. Oh no, what's that in the distance? That's the end of anything important we were doing for pretty much the rest of the show. Like an average episode, step 1, something asinine is happening because that's what the show's about. And then it just gets worse as soon as she shows up. By the end, nothing will make sense. Now that doesn't really say that a regular episode is all that great anyway.
It's the Piyoko effect.
Yeah, most of these things aren't very good.
Oh, we don't even talk about killing.
Here's how this goes. Everyday life is great, Valkyrie wants to do something, everything gets ruined. And then suddenly everything's great again and everyone's going to pretend nothing bad happened. Let me show you. Everyday life is, look at that. Valkyrie wants to go break something and push some buttons and do something awful. Half the city blows up, that's resolved. And then it's like it never happened. There are, of course, no consequences for blowing up half the city. I'm kind of really amazed that scenes like this, where she wants something, don't just end with the destruction of the town. Now, what's our brave protagonist doing? He's fiddling with valves. Because when you run a bathhouse, the only skill you will ever need is fiddling with valves. Like, you just have panovers of him being like, yeah. No. Like, let's watch him solve some problems. What if Valkyrie's being annoying and worse than usual? Well, fiddle with some valves and that's gonna go right away. It's just gone. Intergalactic crisis. Fiddle. With some valves. You won't even notice it happening. Now I'm gonna hit you with a shock right now, so prepare yourself. There are 4 seasons of this garbage. And a special episode, of course, because you can't have one of those. What kind of stuff are we looking at here? They try a lot of things, but every one of them is basically a terrible mistake. Alright, let's look at some of those. Let's make one of the only good characters in the whole show tiny for a whole episode. That's a great idea. Alright. Ooh, that's a good one. What if Valkyrie still had the brain of a peanut, but got her big body back so she could abuse people even more horribly than usual? Great whole episode. Alright, screw that. What if we made all the characters small? That's a great plan. Yeah, actually, that happens for a whole episode. But then they're like, they had the killer idea. More of her! Like not just one, but 3 of them. And then they just run around doing all kinds of stupid stuff for a whole episode. And they're like, you know what would make this even better? Time paradox. Like, let's just have 3 of them go visit older episodes, like the one where they all turn small, and just make them even worse somehow. Great. Other plots include the cat girl has a gun. Okay. Maybe not just one gun, but lots of them. Now the really scary thing is what she does with those guns. That gun turns regular people into cat girls. Not just cat girls, but slaves who will serve her every whim. And she just basically makes an army of them. Like that's what happens for her. Do you think this has any consequences? No. Everyone has a happy time, and no one notices half the female population being slaves. Of course not. Other great plots? Well, one of them klutzy fan service characters shows up, but she really wants it that everyone needs to be wearing spectacles all the time, which kind of gets a little creepy. Really creepy. She's taken over the school. What are we gonna do? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You are just joking.
Oh, hell no.
The power line's drawn. And then, like, it just ends in tears. This cat neck appears and she takes it over and oh my god, what is going on at this point? How did you make an episode out of this? And then there's no, stop doing that! Like, stop touching things, Valkyrie. It is a bad plan for everyone. And then she just bought that asteroid. Now, who wants to bet that asteroids are kind of expensive? Yeah, of course they are. You're totally bankrupt now. Like, it's over. What do you do to solve this problem? Interstellar war. And how are we going to end this? Like, how's this going to, like, turn out? the stupidest idea ever. Like, that's a water spout in space. There's also a rainbow for no good reason. Like, what are you going to do once you have this level of stupid appear? Have a whole new episode about a space bathhouse. Like, that's a whole episode is devoted to what if we built an asteroid, like a space bathhouse out in space. Now, what about season 2? That had a plot, right? That's the whole plot. The Blizzard of Time. Which, when sounds dumb, is dumb. Alright? All kinds of dumb things happen. It has ridiculous stuff going on. You're not going to care because it's so bad. And then, like, seasons 3 and 4, they're like, alright, we're done. Like, I'm just going to throw this stuff at you, and we'll get finished. I have no idea what's going on there. You don't want to know what's going on there. But in the end of the show, they're married, and everything is happy because that's the whole point. Oh wait, they're not! Haha, just kidding. They never, ever get married for all 4 seasons. Instead, we get special episodes where they try to get married, but instead, they go to the kitchen of space. They're stuck for the rest of their natural lives, I hope. So really, when you see this show coming at you, just run away, don't look back, just flee.
Oh, Xenosaga!
No! You thought the game was bad!
Like, I never knew! It sucks! I never knew what the hell was going on 90% of the time! After a while, I just didn't know that! So then, we're like, all-star cast in the show, let's do it! We've got Shion, who I never really knew what the point of her was. Yay! We got that lovely girl, who's like, who I never really knew what the point of her was either. That other lovely girl, well, yeah, my favorite general hates a lot. He was just there to hate on everything. A lot. Lots of people and everything. That guy, I was part of the plot for no apparent reason in Cosmos, who I thought was supposed to be really important. We'll get to pretty much all she does a little bit later. So what's this show all about? I don't really know, to tell you the truth. Like, Shion stands around talking to robots that resemble people, and then, I don't know, just as I was beginning to understand everything, maybe ugly CG happened. Like, this hideous fleet comes out of nowhere, and starts firing lasers, and I was like, what is going on? And they're like, of course we're going to explain demon whales without faces. And I was like, what on earth is going on? And they were like, don't worry, I'll save you. And I was like, from what? I don't even remember this guy's name, so he's now Captain Crunch. Now you know. You know it's safe to get into the vehicle with a guy who says, caution, I am a yeah, that's awesome. Like, him and his able-bodied crew over here. Like, this would be great. This would be great. How are we really going to defeat those demon whales? Let's have a quick discussion about latent power. Now, back in the day, I used to like poke a little bit of fun at Sailor Mercury. Not because I didn't like her, but because Shannon Spray has got to be the dumbest thing ever. I was like, seriously? You make bubbles, and then it makes a fog that's cold. That's like the dumbest attack ever. Later on, I got thwarted by Sailor Mercury. It was like, hey, my attack is Star Gentle Uterus. And I was like, no, I'm not even joking. And I was like, now that has got to be the worst attack ever.
That is also a
nothing
dude.
worse than that, ladies and gentlemen. Meet Star Abdominal Back. She freaking stands up on the ship, opens the abdominal port, starts sucking in the enemy. And I was just terrified. The cast was just terrified. Whatever.
This is delicious.
This gold bar in space. Oh, this gold bar. It never gets explained ever. It just floats there. Forever and ever. The camera pans to him. I'm like, I think this thing is important. Maybe or something. Pretty much I decided by the end of the show somebody should have nabbed that thing and cashed it. And MC Hammer totally backed me up. Let's get back to that plot, shall we? There's a council or something. I don't even know. Like, amuse me. Who's gonna save us this time from a giant ship with lasers? Hookers? Hookers? Power? A little boy and his army of hookers! I was like, oh yeah, here comes my explanation of the show. Well, like midway through the show, we're at the big space station, it's gonna happen. what do I freaking get? Scarred for life now! Look at that! This is what it freaking looked like before! What the hell happened? Now, other amazing events of the Kukai Federation include drinking, going to the gay bar. And this next letter to leave up for a moment, you just absorb that. I don't even know what the hell was happening. We're just gonna leave that up there. Now, here's the deal. Cosmos, it's gotta be important, right? I've never played the games, but she's fully featured on 2 of these covers. And I was like, man, Cosmos, she must be like really important. What are you all doing this whole time? Oh, stasis? Now, what do we have time to do? Well, Cosmos is in stasis. Oh, God, no! Your backstory? Really? So, I'll tell you his backstory. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Once upon a time, I was a clone, and they gave me a gun and a shotgun. And that's my whole plot line. Now, here's what I understood. You give little boys guns, and they go crazy, or they develop awful pickup lines. The chick just punches her, and he's like, thanks, cool sister. I was like, whatever. And things take a turn for the fantastically bad when this chick shows up. She just starts talking. Like, I don't even know what words are coming out of her mouth a mile a minute that mean nothing to me. There's like a destiny in the world and blah, blah. And I was like, whatever, sister. As long as the main characters know what's going on, it's all good. Yeah, we just hit a whole new level of bad. You know, Cosmos, you could come save the plot because you're aboard stasis. The whole time. Now, at this point, the animator's going to stasis, right? The show goes from ugly to super ugly. What the hell happened to your face? So pretty much, I don't know what's going on, but in the end, Cosmos wakes up from stasis, randomly starts firing lasers. Serious lasers from her abdomen. My guy is back with a robot kidnapping little girls, just like I promised you with the German words or something, whatever, and your rainbow cannon. For the record, there is a glossary in the game, which if you read it, tells you everything you need to know. The anime provided me with none of that. Now, let's review a fraction of the things I might have liked to know. Some of my personal favorites include who was that cool sister and that freaking rainbow cannon. Let's just say this show is so awful! So awful that not even a cameo by Samuel L. Jackson.
You didn't go into the subplot with that brother who can never meet her again.
I don't freaking know. All BCG
As
has
spring comes to an end. As spring comes to an end. As spring comes, you know what? Autumn. And that means this. This was the best series of all last year. It has everything you need. Scantily clad women, a harem, awkward character positions, horrible mascot characters, smart voice actresses, lesbians, toning lesbians, and a cool episode. Yes, this show is already going to be fantastic, but what could make it better? Well, let's throw in a battle royale for no reason whatsoever. But wait. This is good enough. We need something better. We've got a harem. We've got lesbians and a battle royale. Let's make the main character turn into a girl to fight in the battle royale.
Yeah, let's have a... We see that again and again and again.
This can't be. 17-year-old with the voice of a prepubescent boy and an IQ of 80 when it comes to girls. And the uncanny ability to turn into one. And rest assured that we get to see all the problems that a guy who turns into a girl would have to face. You know what do you do? What happens to a guy who turns into a girl? He attracts lesbians. Because you know that the first thing I would do if I was a girl would say, oh man, if only that guy turned into a girl, I would so have the hots for him. Then we have Akane Mishima, who is basically the nerdy girl with the hots for the main character. Except instead of turning into a girl, she turns into a hot-headed girl with who flings obscenities all the time. Then we have Shizuku Sango, the nominal president of the student council, but really that's just an excuse for her to go force Natsuru to go out on dates. And what about well, you can't go wrong with a childhood friend character. Good thing is for the first half of the series, she's traveling the world, so you know, she's probably going to be pretty cool. Well, no, really, she just has the hots for Natsuru again. And finally, we have the only character who's not battling in this battle royale, Sakura Kaede. Now, she also has the hots for Natsuru, but only the girl form. And of course, Natsuru actually likes her, which means that this show actually came up with a brand new concept I've never heard of before, the love triangle. Now, rest assured that this brand new meme leads to crazy, unpredictable humor. So, what kind of magical battle would this be without magical mascots? Rest assured that they provide invaluable advice for their non-existent battles. That's right. Kampfer doesn't have battles, and the animators even admit it. That's because Kampfer decides to focus on Natsuru's school life. Now the interesting thing is that this school is strictly segregated. There's actually barbed wire between the male side and the female side. Like what? I didn't quite get it, but then finally, in one episode I understood. They were protecting the boys from learning that every female in the school was a lesbian. But one question is always on your mind. Why are the Kampfer battling? Well, the answer isn't all that surprising because intergalactic war can only be solved through the power of harems. At one point, finally, eventually, I just realized that the creators just went insane at some point and just stopped making sense. And this wasn't the good type of insane. This was the bad kind. What? So, finally, the anime grinds to a vaguely incomprehensible conclusion. But this conclusion had the best rendering of an ode to joy that I have ever seen in an anime.
The smiles are terrifying.
For those of you who are actually listening to this, they're actually singing in German. What? So, rest assured, Kampfer by far beats every other series from last year, and that's why I am proud to give it 2009's Golden Pool Award. So if I want to leave you with anything from this panel, anything at all, that's if you are forced in a battle to the wits where you must choose between one anime in this panel and Kampfer, you are probably doing yourself a favor by not choosing Kampfer.
That's like music to my ears. Look at all those oh gods. Alright. So what kind of show is this? Well, it's kind of a contrived harem movie with an amazing twist. He picks one of two girls and gets to vote and like be the lord of whatever realm they came from. Well, what kind of hair are we looking at? Honestly, kind of pretty standard hair, right? So the real focus is on these two. And another twist, of course. The god is the aggressive one. Now, I thought to myself initially, you know what? Maybe this isn't so terrible. There's a show like this that I like quite a bit. Well, not so much. Nobody has any complaints about anybody else. They all get along famously and spend most of their time with the main character. It's ridiculous. And of course, what would a show like this be without fan service? Because every show like this needs fan service. This one kind of goes overboard and just has it friggin' everywhere. Entire episodes are devoted to it. And some of it's really creepy. Like, there's an entire episode devoted to having this 12-year-old girl try on underwear for the benefit of you, the viewer.
And in the game, you can actually have a relationship with her.
How creepy.
And
Thanks for sharing that you have actually played this game.
The show, you're not really sure if they like meant to like ha-ha. But they're serious. There's a lot of other really bad. Are you joking me? No, they're not joking. Then there's all the worthless side characters, alright? None of them are any good at all, especially that guy down there. But really, this was my least favorite side character. She just kind of goes off into fantasy land whenever anyone's talking to her, and she only does that for the entire show. That's all she ever does. There's also, that's the green hair girl. Then there's all the cliches. We couldn't have a harem enemy without every cliche in the book. Oh no, the protagonist. Oh no, we're hit with super Japanese fever in our dad 5 days. The theme part and the beach episode. Of course, all of them. But my personal favorite, really, is the nicknames. Everybody in the show needs a nickname. And some of them, like Lysianthus to Sia, sort of makes sense. That's okay by me. The main character, he doesn't really get too much of a nickname. I'm also good with that. Alright. But then, there's another character who gets to be Rin. So we've got Rin and Rin. That's a little confusing. Then there's Rim. So Rim. I was like, come on, guys, I can't keep those people apart. Now they start doing all kinds of stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, those two things don't, like, those aren't nicknames. Finally, it's time to shorten characters' names that don't need to be shortened. Like Kaide to Kai. Now, what in the world are you going to do with a character named Asa? That's like 3 letters. What? You gotta be kidding me. Alright, and it gets even worse when everybody has their own special honorific way of referring to the main character. So you're constantly being confused. But really, once you throw in how all of them talk to each other, and then once you have all the side characters,
How long did that take you?
that was kind of a while. It's all accurate. But really, where the show truly fall down, every female character needs a dramatic and tragic backstory. So this is the girl that's totally servile to the main character and lives in his house and all that. Well, how did we get to this point? Well, first everything was great, and then there was horrible tragedy in her backstory. Her mother dies in a car accident, and it's awful, and she goes into a coma basically and won't come out. The doctor's like, anything at all we can do to get her out of this coma will save her. Anything. The main character's like, I have the best plan ever. I'm gonna tell her I killed her mother. And she's gonna hate me so much that she'll wake up and it'll work. And this plan works out.
Like, you know that Simpsons episode where like Bart's joking is like, I did the shaking of the beer can, and then Homer throttles him. Except they did that for real.
They did that for laughs. That was their whole idea. And then what's the flaw in his plan? Well, maybe his entire childhood is going to get ruined by this because she hates him forever. Like, that's a box cutter. She's about 8 years old. And she's just trying to cut his face off with it. Like what? what? That girl's evil. All right, but then it turns out that she killed her mother. She's a sickly girl, and her mother had to come back and see her and got in the car accident. Oh no, I've been treating him like a jerk my whole life. I better just go throw myself off. But at the last second, the infinitely patient protagonist saves her, and she's like, well, the only way I can make it up to this guy is by serving him for the rest of my natural life. And so, 10 years later, we're still doing it. And that phrase there, that is all her character is. The one time he's like, you don't need to work so hard. Like, you got school and homework, and you make all the food and do the laundry. It's a little bit too much. She's like, but it's all I have. I have absolutely nothing without you. So it's a harem anime. He's gonna go see other girls, that's the whole point. So we quickly go from here to here. Like, that doesn't take very long at all. The takeaway lesson you want here is that he is not very good at being a harem anime protagonist.
Which Rin?
Good show, sir.
Let's hear about another one. Now, her backstory was sort of okay. She's got this clone when she was little, and the clone had to sacrifice her life to save her, and now she basically has another girl's consciousness in her head. And if you saw it all coming, the pieces were all sort of there, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. And then, bam! Out of nowhere, this other girl's like, oh, me, I have what she had. The same exact thing. I got another girl in my head. Okay, how well was this set up? It wasn't. You did not see it coming. There were no hints about it. Just like, yeah, the directors ran out of ideas. We're like, let's just do the same thing. Now, where does her story begin? The room. Where all good stories begin. Now, how crazy is this going to get? She's like, that other kid, besides me in the womb, nobody liked that kid. But she wasn't even born yet. No one liked it. I like to try to imagine how this worked. I don't want 2 daughters, but I hate that one. You are absolutely correct. And she's not actually in the show, so I'm just assuming at this point. What are we going to do, though? We could hate her to death. And then they did. And how did that turn out exactly? Like that. Oh, we're gonna lose that little girl. But the last second, she reached out and grabbed the feelings of that other girl, and now she has 2 girls in her head. Great. Except that, like, you weren't born yet. How are you having different experiences? It's ridiculous. So who is this other mysterious girl just like her? Great. Exactly what the show needed. So learn from my mistakes, because this show, Shuffle, it's a killer. Like, it is terrible for you. So if you see any of these fine titles, remember, burn on sight.